Finish, Phil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In moving this motion of no confidence earlier today, the Leader of the Opposition claimed this was about delivering Brexit. But this Parliament, elected in 2017, was elected to perform that task. And both main parties, Labour and Conservative alike, stood on a manifesto of respecting the referendum result. And between the two of us, we got 82% of the vote. It's our responsibility now, together, each and every one of us, to find a way of making Brexit work for our country. And by claiming the only way to do that is by holding yet another general election, is an abdication of the individual responsibility that each and every one of us took upon our shoulders by standing as candidates in the 2017 general election. But the particular mendacity of the Leader of the Opposition in moving this motion, by claiming it would give him, if he won a general election, a mandate, is that he has absolutely no policy on Brexit at all. And given he has no policy, he couldn't possibly have any mandate to do anything were he to win a general election in the first place. He goes about the country in the north saying that he's in favour of Brexit. Yeah. He says to Remain-leaning constituencies in London and the south, he gives them the impression he's in favour of remaining. And he would collapse in a general election campaign under the weight of his own contradictions. He was asked time and time again last night, over the weekend, he was asked by a member of the SNP earlier to articulate his policy on Brexit, and he could not do so. He couldn't do so because he has no policy. It's up to all of us to pull together and work out a way of delivering Brexit sensibly.
Obviously,
he has policies. I think he has 13 policies on Brexit, not none. But thank you so much indeed.
Well, I'm grateful to the member for the Isle of Wight for clarifying that multiplicity of policies, which the Leader of the Opposition adopts at different times when he finds it convenient to do so. But I would also say to the government that they should listen after the vote last night. Clearly, it was the margin of defeat was not a small one. And if there's one thing, it strikes me, that needs to be changed in order to give this proposal a chance of passing, it is obviously the backstop. And my request or my advice to the government is that we do need to speak to the European Union about introducing legally binding changes to that backstop in order to render the withdrawal agreement acceptable to this House. And I would just ask the government to speak to the European Union in the coming days on that topic. We've also heard a great deal from members opposite about the government's record more generally, in particular from the member for Ilford North and the last speaker as well. I am proud to defend this government's record over the last 9 years. I heard education mentioned, and it was, of course, the Right Honourable Member for Surrey Heath, who I see in his place, who, as Education Secretary, introduced reforms. Absolutely. Introduced reforms which now mean that more children than ever before are attending good and outstanding schools. That isn't my judgment, it's not the government's judgment, it's the judgment of Ofsted, and it's the quality of education our children receive that really matters. I will again in a moment. Now, I heard the NHS mentioned as well, of course a vital institution that we all cherish. And contrary to the threats made or the dire warnings issued at various general elections about how the NHS is unsafe in Conservative hands, we've heard announced just a few weeks ago the biggest ever increase in funding for the NHS, £23 billion a year in real terms. And we're seeing that in Croydon already, with a brand new accident in emergency just opened at Croydon University Hospital, which I visited just last Friday. Twice the size of the old one, a fantastic facility funded by the Department for Health and by this government. And when it comes to poverty and inequality, members opposite will be aware that absolute poverty has gone down. They'll be aware that income inequality has never been lower. They will be aware that the way you combat poverty is by creating employment, and employment is at a record level as well. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I am proud that it's a Conservative government which has increased the minimum wage by 38% since 2010. 38%. That is significantly higher than the rate of inflation, and goes to show this government is on the side of working people on low incomes, and I will be proud to support it in the division lobbies this evening.
John Woodcock.